Lieutenant Colonel Farrell. I'm here to review some basic information concerning preparing and modifying documents. Now, the first point I'd like to make is that it's very important to avoid duplicating information already contained in another publication. Can anybody explain how you do that?
Well, for DA publications, you can check to see if the information exists in another publication by checking the series AR 25-30. For a specific publication, you check the microfiche, DA PAN 25-30. And for the command level, you check the index.
That's right. If you don't pick up the redundancies before publication, you'll hear about them from users after the fact on DA Form 2028. So save yourself embarrassment by doing your homework. The next point is coordination with proper commands and agencies. For command publications, you'll want to closely coordinate with the activities for whom the publication is intended. For departmental publications, you'll also coordinate with other agencies that might have an interest. To avoid conflicts and possible redundancies, the amount of coordination will depend on the type of publication. Now let's move on to when you issue a permanent change and when you issue a revision to a publication.
Can I tell you what my understanding of the difference is?
Sure, go ahead.
Revision is a complete redo of a document so that a revised document replaces the old document.
Correct. And a permanent change?
A permanent change is a change notice or addendum. It's a separate document that modifies the basic publication.
Very good, Joyce. Remember, only the proponent can make a change to a publication.
That's fine, but how does the proponent decide whether it's a permanent change or a revision?
Good question, Terry. The criteria really depends on the form of the document. First, we'll look at revisions. At our installation, we follow the DA standard. In the case of bound publications, if 25% or more of the pages would change, or 50% or more of the paragraphs would change, or if the document is less than 9 pages and changes are required, the publication is reprinted in its entirety. In the case of loose leaf publications, a revision is called for when the document contains 32 pages or less, and 50% or more of them would change, or if more than 32 pages and 75% or more of them would change. Last, we have update publications. A revision is issued if more than 65% of its paragraphs would change, or a change would distract from its usefulness because of extensive rewrites or reorganizations.
What are the criteria for a permanent change to a departmental publication?
It's simple. If it needs changing but doesn't meet any of the previous criteria, then a permanent change should be issued. However, there are a few additional points about permanent changes that you should know. Changes remain in effect until the document is rescinded or the change itself is superseded.
Do you issue a change for all kinds of errors?
No. Only substantive errors should be changed. A typo, for example, would not qualify. But addition of a policy or a procedure to a publication, such as a policy change required due to changes in related publications, would qualify. Now, I know that you may be getting sick of hearing this, but again, it's important to consider if the material you're planning to add in a document can be consolidated with other existing material.
I'm beginning to get the idea that consolidation and lack of redundancies are two real important issues when dealing with publications.
I couldn't have said it better, Joyce. Now let's continue on with our last topic of the day, immediate action interim changes, which we don't have to deal with at our level, but you should know about them anyway. We'll go through that.
What did you think of Lieutenant Colonel Farrell's presentation today?
I thought it was very informative. The only thing I wasn't completely clear on, though, was that last topic, immediate action interim changes. Did you get that part?
Yeah, I think so. What didn't you understand? Maybe I can explain it to you.
I just didn't get the whole thing, really.
Okay, then let's start at the beginning. The important thing to remember is that an interim change is used for one of two things. Either to implement a change imposed by law, or to rescind or change a dangerous or harmful procedure. Now, you SAFC processes interim changes before all other work.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure. In the first case, you might have an executive order or an order from an executive agency, a court order or a DOD directive, stuff like that. And in the second case, you might have someone discovering a procedure that's harmful to life or property or safety, something that could result in a ruling against the Army. Now, these are the kinds of things where the changes would have to be made faster than normal.
Okay, I got that. Now, one thing I did get was that an interim change lasts only 2 years. Is that what makes it different from a permanent change?
You got it. Remember that all interim changes have to go through USAPC for final approval. Now, I think that covers all the points.
Thanks, Terry.
Pick this up for my niece's birthday.
Oh, she'll be 8. You got her a form.
Yeah. Her dad's picking up a bike for her tonight. That's her big present. But I got her something I really enjoyed when I was her age. It's a new edition. Just look at all these illustrations.
They really add to the story, don't they?
Yeah, in this case, they just add a great deal.
Well, that reminds me, I was just going through the notebook that Ann gave me.
What did the note say?
Well, first of all, illustrations should only be used when they're functional, meaning when they explain or clarify information. A wiring diagram is a good example. Illustrations can also be used when they reduce narrative by substituting a simple explanation like a flowchart or a complex procedure.
Although pictures may be worth 1,000 words, they also cost more, too, and when used inappropriately, they can even divert a user's attention.
You know, one thing I found especially interesting was that the Army really avoids using stereotypes in illustrations. In fact, the guidelines indicate that they use good taste when using illustrations.
I'll second that, like these illustrations.
So what is so important that you need our help during the lunch break?
Well, Major Ramos called and asked if I could put together a little presentation for some of the people on color and publications. And you all know how new I am to this, so I thought I'd ask for feedback from you on my presentation.
Sure, I happen to have some experience in that area while I worked at USAPC, but there's a condition.
What's that?
Lunch is on you.
Okay. Now, I'm going to point to a published piece and tell you whether it does or does not meet the requirements for color. You are going to tell me what the criteria is, okay?
So green is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm the good Dr. Watson, right?
Right. Okay. Now, the first item is a map. It does meet the criteria. Why?
It tells us a lot of different types of terrain information, like man-made objects, water, vegetation, and stuff like that. Therefore, the use of multiple colors is justified.
Okay, that's right. Now, the next document is information about a program on fire prevention. Now, it too justifies the use of color. Why?
Well, fire prevention is vital information, and color reinforces the message, is that right?
That's right. Now, next we have an organizational chart of ISC. It does not qualify to be printed in color. Why not?
That is a new one on me, but looking at it, I would say that the use of color doesn't reinforce any important information that couldn't be as easily expressed in black and white.
So far, you people are doing very well. Now, how about this poster on the EEO policies? It is printed in color.
And quite properly, too. It is designed to get public attention and response.
Exactly. Now, what about this logo? It does not qualify to be printed in color. We just did it here as an illustration. How come?
Color in this case is being used for decoration and not for meaning.
You know your stuff, Lee. Now for the last example. Now here's a picture of the heartworm cycle. This is the proper use of color. Now who's going to answer? Holmes or Watson?
Watson's turn. Color, in this case, helps identify medical information. That would be my guess.
Elementary, my dear Watson, and absolutely correct. Let's summarize. Basically, you can use multicolored printing if it makes a valuable contribution to the information in a publication.
Multicolors are prohibited when used for decorative effects such as on seals and logos, as a substitute for poor design, layout, planning, or as an unnecessary third or fourth color.
That's it. Thanks, guys.